Are you still struggling trying to prompt ChatGPT and other AI tools, trying to get better responses, but not having much luck? Guys, in this video, I'm going to show you some of my favorite AI prompting tips or hacks that you can use to get better outcomes. So be sure to stick around for the entire video. And no, I'm not going to show you some perfect prompt formula that a lot of other creators like to talk about on the topic of AI prompting. And also, the tips that I'm going to show you are not only actionable, but they can be used on even the free versions of ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Llama, or really any other LLM, including new ones like DeepSeek. But if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. My name is Ryan, and my mission is to help you navigate the overwhelming world of artificial intelligence. And if you want to know my favorite AI tools and prompts that I'm using for marketing and content creation, be sure to get my free AI Marketing Essentials Guide. You can find the link for this below this video. But now let's get back into some of my favorite AI prompting hacks. So this first AI prompting hack will probably come off as basic to some of you watching this, but that's okay. I'm going to be covering more advanced tips later on in this video. So this prompting tip is the idea of establishing a persona. Now you've probably heard this before, but not just any persona for ChatGPT, also a persona for yourself. It's very important that you do that. So here's a real world example. I asked ChatGPT the following. I said, "You are an experienced digital marketer specializing in AI tools for content creation. I want you to treat me as a client seeking advice on what AI tools I should be using on a limited budget to scale content creation." So let's go back to the personas piece. I gave ChatGPT a persona as an experienced digital marketer. Now, why is this important? Well, LLMs like ChatGPT are smart enough to understand what it means to be an experienced digital marketer. And because of that, they can better craft their responses knowing that they are an expert in whatever you assign it. Obviously, it's going to change based on what you prompt ChatGPT with. And I also said, I want you to treat me as a client seeking advice on what AI tools I should be using on a limited budget. So I'm also establishing the persona to ChatGPT of myself being a client. And this is important because I want ChatGPT to talk to me like I'm a client, not just a general person. I'm giving it more information and more context to get a better tailored response. And so ChatGPT responded with the following. I like how it breaks it down by the different categories for content creation tools. It lists each tool here, but also provides more details on why I should consider using this tool to scale content creation. So again, here's some more categories. But what I really like at the end is it provides like an overall recommendation on a limited budget under $100 a month. It gives me free options, paid options, and it says total $55 a month for paid AI tools. So why is this important? Well, I quickly ran a thin prompt to compare the contrary of what I would get doing it this way. What AI tools should I use to scale content creation? Not talking about personas at all in that prompt. And while it did break it down by categories and tools, it's not bad by any means. It can definitely get you started in the right direction. It didn't provide an overall analysis of like, here are the free tools, paid tools on a $55 a month budget, which is what I recommend, right? There's just not as many useful details in this response versus what I got here by adding in those personas into the prompt. It's a very little detail. I understand I'm being a little nitpicky there, but if you want to take your prompts to the next level, adding personas for both ChatGPT and yourself is a very good way to do that. So the second AI prompting hack I'm going to share might also be a little basic to more advanced users of AI if you happen to be watching this, but this is the idea of self-reflection, right? So having ChatGPT analyze its response and then crafting a better response to get you a more desired output. So here's the prompt that you can use for self-reflection, right? And this is going back to the first example that I just did on personas. I said, review your own response and identify any assumptions or gaps in the explanation. Very important that you talk about assumptions, right? Because ChatGPT and these other LLMs, they still hallucinate and they also still assume a lot of things that might not necessarily be true. Then I also said highlight areas where additional clarification might be beneficial for someone new to this topic. And then I click send, and here's the refined response that I got from ChatGPT. It talks about the strengths in its response, assumptions identified, right? Again, this is very important. So it said familiarity with AI tools. The response assumes the client has basic knowledge of tools like ChatGPT, Jasper, or Canva. Well, let's say I'm completely new to AI and I have no knowledge of what any of these tools are besides ChatGPT. So it's making a false assumption there. So I'd come back and say, yes, refine this response, but assume I'm not familiar with any AI tools. It assumes that I'm comfortable with some technical integrations, right? Maybe I'm not technical at all. Another false assumption it made there. And then it talks about gaps in the explanations, lacking use cases, suggestions for additional clarification, blah, blah, blah. But then it goes on to say, would you like me to refine or expand the original response with these points in mind? And I said, yes, expand the original response. Let's take a look at what this refined response looks like. It still broke it out by categories like it did at the very beginning, but what I noticed right away that's different that would be very helpful to new users of AI tools is they break down a use case. So in this example, it's showing me how I should use ChatGPT for content ideation and research. It's saying ask ChatGPT for blog post ideas based on your niche. It even gives an example prompt. Use it to draft outlines, headlines, etc. Then it's giving me use cases for all these other tools, right? Content. It gives me a use case for every single AI tool that it mentions. And if I scroll down at the end, it even provides a workflow for beginners, right? To streamline your process, here's how these tools can work together. Ideation, use ChatGPT, writing, design, SEO, publishing, repurposing. And then it gives me another budget-friendly starter pack. ChatGPT Plus, Canva Free, Writesonic, Buffer, etc. Some concluding tips here. But long story short, as I keep rambling about this, I hope you guys understand why using self-reflection is very important when it comes to getting better outputs in ChatGPT or any other LLM that you're using. Now, you can also apply the same concept of self-reflection to anything related to images. So in this example, I told ChatGPT to generate me really a basic image of like a cabin in the woods. And so I didn't give it a lot of context, right? I gave it one sentence. So it came back and then I replied with that same self-reflection prompt that I just showed you in the last example. And then it gave all this information. So then I said, now create a more advanced image prompt if I wanted to make this image better and higher quality. For context, I'm using this image on an advertisement, right? Provided that little extra context. Now look at this image prompt that it provided me with. That's a really long and detailed prompt. So then what I did is I copy and pasted that and replied back, and then it came up with this image, right? Looks a lot higher quality, especially if I'm going to be using this on any sort of ad or marketing materials versus what I got in the very first image. Now I know this is a very quick example, but I just want to show you the importance of using self-reflection in your prompts. Now, this third AI prompting hack is a little more advanced, and this is the idea of using ChatGPT or Claude as what I refer to as advanced prompt generators. I'm going to show you a few examples of what I mean by this. I use this prompting tip all the time in my workflows. And so in this example, here's one of the prompts that I provide. Create an advanced prompt to help generate 5 engaging social media captions based on the YouTube video transcript I will provide. So I'm asking ChatGPT to give me a more advanced prompt that I can copy and paste and open up a new chat and do it that way versus the alternative by just saying, hey, ChatGPT, give me 5 social media posts. Here's my YouTube video. This is what a lot of people do. They don't leverage these AI tools as advanced prompt generators. And so based on this prompt, here's the more advanced prompt that ChatGPT gave me. Notice how more detailed that is than just saying, hey, generate me 5 social media posts using best practices. And so what I did is I copy and pasted this prompt, opened a new chat, pasted it right here, and then I went ahead and got a video transcript for one of my YouTube videos, one of my more recent ones, copy and pasted it on the right-hand side here, came back, and then here is the response that ChatGPT provided me with. So if I scroll all the way down, here we go. So you'll see here there's different captions for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, etc. Now, is this perfect? No, I'd probably leverage a custom GPT for something like this, but I simply refine this by saying use a more listicle approach and don't block all the posts into one paragraph. Here's what I got for an Instagram caption. That's very engaging, right? Here's the hook up top, the listicle approach, Facebook caption, LinkedIn caption, Twitter caption, TikTok caption. Obviously, I can come back and refine these posts to however I want, but the overall point that I'm trying to show you here is that you should be using ChatGPT as an advanced prompt generator versus just saying, hey, generate me 5 social media posts, go, right? We want to avoid these thin prompts and start leveraging more advanced prompts to get better outputs. So I can also apply the same principle of using an advanced prompt generator for images or logos. So in this example, let's say I want to redesign the logo of my marketing agency. It's called Empathy First Media. Here's the website right here. Here's one of my current logos, and I uploaded both versions of my logo, both the long one and the emblem. And I prompted ChatGPT with the following. I said, create 3 advanced prompts that I can use to create a more professional logo for my marketing agency. I gave it the name, I gave it my colors, and I also said I uploaded both variations of my current logo. And based on that information, what ChatGPT did is it provided me with 3 advanced prompts that I can individually copy and paste these one by one, either into a new window of ChatGPT powered by DALL-E. I can copy and paste these into other AI image models, Ideogram, Leonardo, Flux One with Grok. I could use it in Midjourney or Adobe Firefly if you have those premium models. But here's quickly what the examples were that it gave me, right? Not bad, but again, let's say I like an iteration of this as a first draft. I could download this, upload it to Canva, Photoshop, make some tweaks on my own. Here's the second one that it gave me, not bad, right? And then here's the third one that it gave me, just a pure emblem. I actually kind of like this, so I followed up and said add text to it. I don't necessarily like that one, but again, it gets the juices flowing, right? I could definitely take this as a first draft and make a new logo with what AI generated from me, based on these first 3 advanced prompts. So long story short, you can leverage ChatGPT or Claude as advanced prompt generators for not only text outputs, but images as well. Now, this next AI prompting hack is the concept of reverse engineering a high quality output. Now, a high quality output meaning a high quality blog post, a high quality image, logo, whatever the type of media or output it is, we can upload that to ChatGPT and kind of try to reverse engineer and create a prompt that can get a desired output that looks like what we want. So in this example here, let's say I'm trying to go after the keyword best VPNs on Google. Very lucrative affiliate keyword. And this article right here ranks number 1. I like their UI. I like how they have these banners here, the table of contents, the H2s, the structure, the images, the table, the comparison table, right? This just looks really, really good from an SEO perspective. And I want to see if AI can help me copy this and create a prompt to generate an article that looks like this in a different niche, of course. And so what I did is I gave it the following prompt. I said, you are an expert in SEO, content writing, and prompting. Based on the blog post I uploaded, generate an advanced prompt I could use to create blog posts in the same format. Ideally, all I would need to do is provide a target keyword. Then I gave it the blog post URL, and I also uploaded the PDF. I'd recommend uploading the PDF if you're following along here, because copying and pasting this long article will just look really messy when you're using ChatGPT for something like this. And so then it came back with the following, and then I actually went ahead and condensed this. It was a really long prompt, so I just said, now condense this to where all I need to do is enter my target keyword, and then it condensed it into this prompt. So then what I did is I copy and pasted this full prompt right here, opened up a new window, and then I gave it my target keyword right here, AI tools for marketing. So essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to rank for the keyword AI tools for marketing, but I want a blog post that looks like this format, right? Now, obviously you could do whatever niche that you want. I'm just showing you a quick example. And so then what it did is it generated a blog post as best as it could to what this security.org blog post looks like. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but it's a really good first draft or a head start versus just trying to craft an SEO blog post without any sort of direction, just kind of shotgunning it. So here's the response that I got, right? The best AI tools for marketing in 2025, stay ahead of the game. Top AI tools for marketing, best for content creation. So it's using that H3 style that security.org does, getting an external link, bullet points, lists it like here. And this is cool, right? It even generates a comparison table. That's really cool. And another cool feature that security.org did in their blog post as well. FAQs, conclusion, meta description, SEO title. Now, of course, this isn't going to be perfect, but this is one heck of a rough draft. So then I can come back and reiterate and say, actually generate more H3s, or give me another H2, or give me better FAQs, right? Whatever other tweaks that you need to fine tune this with to best rank for that keyword, you can definitely do that. I just hope that this example of what I just shared with you makes sense. And you can also use this concept of reverse prompting for images. So let's say, for example, you come across a unique Facebook ad or a YouTube thumbnail. Well, you can save that image, upload it to ChatGPT, and then prompt it with something like the following. Based on this image of a Facebook ad for an AI course, generate a prompt that I can use to create similar visuals using AI. Include elements like tone, color scheme, key features to emphasize. And then it comes up with an advanced prompt here. So again, similar to the previous example of using it as an advanced prompt generator, but I'm reverse engineering it by uploading a source and then telling ChatGPT to essentially reverse engineer this and create a prompt for me. So I went ahead and copy and pasted this, opened up a new chat in ChatGPT, and then here's what it generated for me based on this first image that I gave it as an example. Now, is this the best ad that I would use for an AI course? Absolutely not. But this right here is DALL-E 3. I just showed you a quick example. If I wanted to make the highest quality image possible, I'd probably copy and paste this into a tool like Midjourney, Adobe Firefly, Flux One, right? More advanced AI image models, but this isn't a bad first draft here. I just want to show you what you can use to reverse engineer images and create more advanced prompts with the help of ChatGPT. Now, the next AI prompting hack I want to share with you is one that I explored on a previous video on my channel, but this is the idea of turning long chats into custom GPTs to improve efficiency. So what do I mean by this? Well, in this example, I had a long chat going on, and long story short, what I was trying to do is repurpose one of my YouTube videos into an engaging thread on X or Twitter, repurpose it into an engaging LinkedIn post using best practices on those platforms. And so here it gave me responses after I gave it a YouTube transcript, but the response here isn't important. Basically, what I did once I got it dialed in and got a good response is I prompted it with the following. And again, you can copy and paste this into one of your long chats and create a custom GPT for yourself. Now, a quick disclaimer, you must be a member of ChatGPT Plus to build custom GPTs. If you're on the free version, this will not work for you. But here's the prompt that I use. I said, task, could you create a prompt or instructions if I want to make a custom GPT for creating X or Twitter threads again in the future? And so then what it did, it took all the information in this long chat, and here it gave me custom GPT instructions for Twitter threads, role and purpose, tone and style guidelines, format instructions, content guidelines, prohibited words and phrases, and then it gave custom examples, right? Very important when you're adding to custom GPTs and fine-tuning them. Suggested inputs, output instructions. And then it said, now I need a short title and description of what this custom GPT does. Gave me a title, a short description, and then voila, here is the custom GPT that I created based on that last chat, called Threadcraft GPT, Twitter or Thread Assistant. And if I click Edit GPT, you'll see here, this is where I copy and pasted all of those instructions that I was just showing you in the previous chat. Gave me a conversation starter, a description, a name. I used DALL-E to generate even the logo of the custom GPT. But long story short, that is what I wanted to show you as one of my final AI prompting hacks in this video, is we can turn long chats into custom GPTs by simply asking for custom instructions when setting it up. Very useful to improve efficiency. And finally, for those who are not aware, there are tons of different free resources out there that we can use to improve our prompts. The idea of a perfect prompt formula or prompt engineering is kind of dead in my opinion now that there's so many resources out there, including the hacks that I just showed you in this video. But one of these is the prompt library that Anthropic provides. Anthropic owns Claude, right? You can copy and paste all of these different prompts that Anthropic has created for you based on your use case. And I will leave a link to this and all the other resources in the description below that you guys can start using, whether it's a spreadsheet sorcerer, right? A product naming pro, a classifier, a direction decoder, data organizer, riddle me this, alien anthropologist, right? On and on and on. They have dozens of different examples. Well, guess what? OpenAI also has prompt examples, grammar corrections, summarize for a second grader. There's a few of these here, right? But if you have no idea where to get started, you can come over to these resources provided by OpenAI and Anthropic and start prompting away. You can also use a free Chrome extension called AI PRM. I've mentioned this on my channel before, as I was using this a lot about a year or two ago until all these other resources came out. But really what this does, I'll click an image here on the Chrome extension page. It creates all of these curated prompts. It literally changes your interface of ChatGPT. I'm going to show you this really quickly. If I click Add to Chrome, click Add Extension, what this is going to do now that it's been added. So I'm going to click this, click Allow, click OK. And now it's going to have a completely new interface inside ChatGPT. I'm going to click cancel. Now my interface is completely different. So again, this has a ton of different curated prompts, right? Whether it's an SEO article, FAQs, keyword strategy, e-commerce SEO, keyword generator, right? There's so many different things that you can do here. There's all these topics that they provide, activity. You can filter and sort by top votes, how many usage they got, right? This one has over 15 million uses. On the bottom, you can curate this however you want. I'm going to actually close this out after I end this video, but I just want to show you another resource that you can use to improve your prompts, and that is through Chrome extensions like AIPRM, resources from OpenAI from prompt examples, and also different resources from prompt examples from Anthropic. So with all of that being said, I know I just threw a ton of information at you about my favorite AI prompting hacks. And again, I will leave all of those examples that I did in the video description below. And if you've made it this far into the video, I truly appreciate you. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the effort that I put into videos just like this. I also want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you have any other AI prompting hacks or tips and tricks that I missed? There's so many new things coming out. It's hard to always stay on top of this stuff. So I really appreciate any input that you guys provide. But most importantly, I hope you all have a great day.